Hello and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'll be reviewing another mini-bot. This time it's a custom LEGO Transformer, Warpath. So here he is in his tank mode, and in my opinion this is looking pretty cool. Now I am trying to keep all these mini-bot style characters in the same scale, so he does match up with Huffer pretty well. And he should also scale with my next one, which will be Gears. But here in the tank mode you can see he works quite well here, and I do like the triangle pieces I used for the tank treads. And the turret can rotate slightly because it is on a ball joint. And there are some clearance issues, but this is really as far as I think you need it to go. So here he is with one of the old Speed Champions cars. Now I can't really compare him with any figures as I don't have any transformed right now as I'm trying to redo my display, but I might as well compare him with a minifigure as well. And in my opinion this actually works quite well for a minifigure scale tank. Even though he probably should be slightly larger, this does work good enough. The turret here is slightly too short, but I think that's more for the robot mode. And speaking of the robot mode, we might as well get down to the transformation. So the first step is to take the front of the treads and hinge them, as they are on a double hinge that you can see here. And unlike the Kingdom version, this does not parse from the front piece, so you just rotate it out to the side on these hinge pieces. And we can also rotate up the head. And it should just sit in between the studs. So coming back to the legs, we can start by double hinging away the entire turret section, as this will give us some clearance. And to get some more clearance, we can just rotate around the hip ball joints, so they should go a full 180 degrees. And this is going to help us with our next steps. But first, using that double hinge, we can just compress the feet into the robot mode configuration, and this obviously looks a lot like the Kingdom one. So for the rest of the legs, we can use the ball joints at the hip, and we can just spread it slightly apart, as we do need clearance for the next step. And we can also rotate the ball joints at the knee inward slightly. This is going to allow us to rotate down the rest of the treads as it's just on a hinge joint. So it should just compress into the back of the leg, and obviously we'll repeat this on the other side. And once it's compressed, we can finally finish up the legs. So, coming around here, we can just take this little red panel, and it should just compress into the side slightly more, so it isn't sticking out anymore. And obviously, this is the exact same on the other side. And once this is done, we can come back to the hip pieces, as well as the knees, and we can just straighten out the legs. So those are his legs all done. So now on to the torso. So to start with the torso transformation, we can just take those white hinge joints and fold them out to the side, as this is going to form sort of a bracket piece that the rest will tab into. So speaking of the rest, using the double hinge we can just bring down the entire turret assembly, and it should just rest into that bracket piece from earlier. And to start on the arms, using the ball joint you can see there, we can just rotate them up slightly. And we can also rotate them on the ball joint just to form the arms. Once this is done, we'll be using the hinge joint which is inside his torso, and this is going to allow you to rotate the arms around, and we can also straighten them by his sides here. And for the final step, we can rotate around the piece on his head. So here he is in his robot mode, and in my opinion looking pretty cool. Now I will admit this guy's slightly more stylized than Huffer, but in my opinion he's still looking pretty cool here, and he fits in with Huffer nicely. And in my opinion, even though he is stylized, he works very well here. And obviously you can use the tank mode turret as a cannon. And the reason I've gone for a slightly shorter turret is so here in the robot mode, it still looks cool, but is not too big. And the back is quite clean as well. So here you can see he is actually quite tall for what is supposed to be a mini bot. So here he is with Ironhide. And he's probably around a modern Voyager, even though he is a mini-bot, but like I said, I will be updating most of the mini-bots here in this new larger scale. So here's my second one, and if you haven't seen the first one, you should go check out Huffer. And after this, I'm going to be working on a Gears. But anyways, if you like this, please like and subscribe. And I'll see you all in the next video. So, have a great time.